Every AR owner thinks they know the hottest guns on the market, until a forgotten pistol they walked past at every gun show rockets from $300 to $15,000 in just a few years. Right now, classic sidearms most collectors ignore are climbing in value even faster than gold, turning old war relics and movie icons into financial jackpots. The 10 secret pistols in this countdown have outperformed safe investments, with some models now matching the price of luxury cars. And the moment the masses catch on, these deals could vanish forever. Which overlooked piece of history is hiding in your collection, waiting to change your fortune? The answers start right here. Number 10. Smith & Wesson Model 39. This pistol quietly rewrote American handgun history in 1954 by introducing double-action semi-automatic fire to the US market. The Model 39's lightweight aluminum frame made it a standout, tipping the scales at just over 28 ounces, much lighter than the steel-framed competitors of its era. It chambered the 9mm cartridge and held 8 rounds in its single-stack magazine, which was considered generous for the time but modest by today's standards. Early on, police and military brass clung to their revolvers, dismissing the Model 39 as a gamble. But as years passed, its reliability and smooth trigger pull began to win over a new generation of shooters. The Model 39 became the blueprint for future American service pistols, and collectors have started to notice. Clean examples now fetch between $800 and $1,500, with pristine early specimens commanding the most attention at auction. If you see one with original grips and box, don't hesitate. These pistols are vanishing from gun shows and estate sales, and their value keeps climbing. Number 9. Colt Detective Special. This is the snub-nose revolver that defined undercover work in America. Colt rolled out the Detective Special in 1927, packing 6 rounds of .38 Special into a frame small enough to disappear under a jacket. The 2-inch barrel made it the go-to choice for plainclothes police and private eyes for decades. It wasn't just the badge crowd either. Regular citizens loved the Detective Special for its blend of power, concealment, and classic Colt craftsmanship. The gun's reputation for toughness grew as it starred in countless film noir thrillers and TV police dramas. That silver screen legacy has only increased demand among collectors. Today, you'll see prices from $600 to $1,200 for a clean Detective Special, with first-year production and high-condition models pushing the upper end. The Detective Special proves that nostalgia and American design can turn a once-common carry gun into a serious investment. Both the Model 39 and Detective Special show how overlooked American classics are quietly outpacing gold. And they're just the beginning of this countdown. Number 8. Walther PPK. The Walther PPK isn't just a gun, it's a passport to 2 worlds, the real shadow games of World War II Europe and the glitzy, bulletproof cool of James Bond. Born in Germany in 1931, the PPK was designed for police detectives and military officers who needed a sidearm that could disappear under a suit but still pack a punch. Chambered in .32 ACP, its sleek lines and compact frame made it a favorite among German officers, and thousands crossed the front lines as war trophies, each one with its own hidden story. But it's what happened after the war that truly cemented the PPK's legend. When Ian Fleming handed one to 007 in Dr. No, the Walther PPK became the ultimate symbol of sophistication and danger. Suddenly, this little German pistol wasn't just a tool of war or police work, it was the sidearm of the world's most famous secret agent. Collectors started chasing not just the gun, but the myth. And every time a new Bond film hit theaters, interest surged again. There's a secretive culture around these pistols. Call them the estate sale prospectors. They hunt through old attics, pawn shops, and military memorabilia shows, hoping to find a forgotten PPK stashed away by a returning GI or a retired detective. Sometimes they get lucky, uncovering wartime bringbacks with the original papers or even a period holster. Those extra details, the right serial numbers, matching grips, or a photo of the original owner in uniform, can double or triple the value instantly. But as more people catch on, the days of scoring a bargain are fading fast. Clean wartime PPKs with solid documentation are now trading hands for $1,200 to $2,800, and the rarest untouched examples can climb even higher. The Bond connection adds a premium, especially for early models that match the specs of the famous movie guns. If you stumble across a PPK with a story, especially one with matching wartime papers or a direct bond tie-in. You're not just holding a piece of steel. You're holding a ticket to a secret club of collectors, investors, and dreamers. And with every passing year, the PPK's value keeps rising, leaving AR owners wondering how this little German pistol left them in the dust. Number 7. Mauser C96 Broom Handle. The Mauser C96 exploded onto the scene in 1896 with a shape no one could mistake: a long barrel, slab-sided frame, and that wild broom handle grip. This was the first pistol you could holster on your hip or snap into a wooden stock and run like a mini carbine. Soldiers, warlords, and revolutionaries all wanted one. Winston Churchill carried a C96 during the Battle of Omdurman, swearing by its firepower when it mattered most. Over the next 50 years, the C96 fought in wars on nearly every continent. But the C96's story gets stranger after the fighting stopped. When the world's armies dumped their surplus, thousands of these pistols slipped across borders in battered crates and false-bottomed trunks. Smugglers moved them out of China through secret deals and shady paperwork, feeding collectors in Europe and the US. Customs agents sometimes found entire shipments disguised as machine parts or tools. Even today, a C96 with a real paper trail, matching numbers, import marks, or a story connecting it to a famous owner can double or triple in value. The gun's mystique only grew when George Lucas picked it as the base for Han Solo's blaster in Star Wars, cementing the C96 as a pop culture legend. Now, clean broom handles start around $2,500, but rare wartime models, or those with ironclad provenance, can fetch $8,000 or more at auction. Number 6. Browning High Power. The High Power rewrote the rules in 1935. John Browning designed it to be the world's first high-capacity 9mm, holding 13 rounds in a double-stack magazine when most pistols struggled to fit 8. F.N. Herstal in Belgium took Browning's blueprints and built a pistol that would end up in the holsters of more than 50 national militaries. From World War II to the Cold War, the High Power became the global standard for sidearms. Soldiers and police trusted its slim grip, easy handling, and dead-on accuracy. Behind the scenes, the High Power was at the heart of a fierce battle for military contracts. American firms lobbied hard to keep it out of US service, but everywhere else, the High Power ruled. Stories swirl about prototypes smuggled out of occupied Belgium, hidden from Nazi eyes, and restarted in secret after the war. Today, collectors are hunting for early FN-made models, especially those with wartime documentation or matching serial numbers. The market is heating up. Expect to pay $1,000 to $2,200 for a solid example, but the rarest with factory letters or combat history can go higher. The Mauser C96 and Browning High Power prove there's more than one path to top dollar appreciation. Whether it's the oddball rarity of the broom handle or the worldwide reach of the High Power, both show that overlooked pistols, quirky or common, are quietly outpacing gold, and AR fans are missing out. Number 5. Colt Python. The Colt Python rolled out in 1955, and right from the start it was in a class of its own. This wasn't just another .357 Magnum revolver, it was the one every shooter dreamed about. Colt's craftsmen hand-fitted every part, polishing the action until the trigger felt like silk and the cylinder locked up with a bank vault click. The deep royal blue finish gleamed brighter than most luxury watches, and the full lug barrel gave it a look that turned heads at the range. Collectors called it the Rolls-Royce of revolvers for a reason. The Python's action was so smooth, some say you could balance a nickel on the barrel and dry fire it without the coin falling off. Police officers and competition shooters wanted one, but the price tag was always steep. Even back in the day, the Python cost twice as much as a standard Smith & Wesson, and that price kept most folks looking from a distance. But here's where things get wild. In 2005, Colt pulled the plug on Python production. Suddenly, the supply of new Pythons vanished overnight, and collectors started hoarding them like gold bars. Prices shot up almost instantly. A gun that sat unsold for $1,200 at a gun show 1 month could fetch $3,000 the next. That's the power of scarcity. When the factory doors closed, every Python out there became a potential treasure. The demand only grew as the years rolled by. Stories of Pythons selling for 5 figures at auction started popping up, especially for rare barrel lengths, nickel finishes, or boxed unfired examples. If you found a first-year Python in mint condition, you could be looking at $10,000 or more. Even well-used shooters now command $3,500 to $8,000, and the numbers keep climbing. The 2020 reissue brought new Pythons to market, but old-school collectors still pay a premium for the originals, especially anything made before 1980, when the hand fitting was at its peak. If you spot a vintage Python with its original box and papers, don't hesitate. That's not just a revolver, it's a status symbol, an investment, and a piece of American gun-making history. The Python story proves that true craftsmanship never goes out of style, and when production stops, the sky's the limit for value. For AR owners chasing the next big thing, the Python shows that sometimes the most overlooked guns are the ones climbing fastest and leaving modern rifles in the dust. Number 4. Luger P08. The Luger isn't just a pistol, it's a passport to the most dramatic moments of the 20th century. Introduced in 1908, this German sidearm became a symbol of battlefield power across 2 world wars. For American GYs, bringing home a Luger with matching serials and a signed capture paper turned a war trophy into a family legend. Decades later, those battered holsters and faded documents can mean the difference between a $2,000 shooter and a $15,000 collector's prize. But the Luger market has a wild side. As values climbed, so did the fakes. Restamped numbers, forged bring-back papers, and courtroom fights over which pistol belonged to which hero. Auction houses now treat provenance like gold, with expert teams checking every stamp, every story. One GI's Luger, backed by a photo in uniform and original paperwork, funded his granddaughter's college tuition at auction. The lesson: documentation is everything, and the best stories bring the highest bids. Number 3. Smith & Wesson Model 29. This revolver launched in 1956, but it was a Hollywood blockbuster that made it a legend. When Clint Eastwood pulled the Model 29 in Dirty Harry in 1971, the gun world went berserk. Dealers sold out in days, classified ads exploded, and Smith & Wesson scrambled to meet demand. The .44 Magnum's reputation as the world's most powerful handgun became dinner table talk across America. Collectors still chase early Model 29s, especially with boxes, papers, and those rare pre-1970 features. The Dirty Harry frenzy pushed prices into overdrive. Today, a clean 1970s Model 29 can fetch $1,800 to $4,500, and anything with direct movie ties is in a league of its own. This is what happens when pop culture and firepower collide. A gun that went from slow seller to icon, leaving AR owners wondering how they missed the gold rush. Number 2. Colt 1911 A1. This isn't just a pistol. It's an American heirloom passed down from foxholes in Europe to display cases in family dens. The 1911 A1 fought in every major U.S. conflict of the 20th century, earning a reputation for rugged reliability and stopping power. Veterans brought them home from war, sometimes with a set of dog tags or a faded photo, and those stories now drive collectors wild. The real game changer is documentation. A matching numbers Colt 1911 A1, backed by a factory letter or wartime bring-back papers, can leap from a $3,000 shooter to a $12,000 showpiece. Pistols made by rare wartime contractors like Singer or Union Switch and Signal push even higher, sometimes breaking the $50,000 mark if the history is ironclad. Auction houses now treat these guns like blue-chip stocks, spotlighting every serial number and every scrap of provenance. Number 1. Colt Single Action Army. This is the king of collectible handguns, the gun that won the West. Lawmen, outlaws, and legends like Wyatt Earp and Wild Bill Hickok carried these on their hips, and every scratch tells a story. But the real secret isn't just age or condition, it's proof. A Colt SAA with a factory letter tying it to a famous owner or a historic event becomes a 6 or even 7-figure treasure. One first-year SAA, gold-plated and factory engraved, hammered for $1.6 million at auction, shattering records and putting most modern investments to shame. Even ordinary examples with solid documentation can fetch $15,000 to $500,000, depending on the story they carry. In the world of classic pistols, provenance is everything. If you've got the papers, you might just be holding a piece of American legend worth more than gold. In the past 20 years, prices for pistols like the Colt Single-Action Army have climbed from tens of thousands to auction records exceeding $1.6 million, while models such as the Smith & Wesson Model 39 and Colt Detective Special have quietly multiplied in value. This documentary has shown that historical innovation, pop culture fame, and documented provenance can transform once common sidearms into high-performing investments, sometimes outpacing the price growth of gold. Many details, such as the total number of surviving early production pistols or the long-term impact of new legislation, remain uncertain, with some archival records still inaccessible. What is clear, based on verified sales data and factory documentation, is that collector demand continues to drive prices higher. For owners and enthusiasts, the evidence proves that a forgotten handgun in the safe could hold extraordinary verifiable worth. The story of these 10 pistols is ongoing, as new discoveries and sales continue to reshape the market.